All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing a little bit of a change of pace. I'm not sure if I like it from a lighting standpoint because it's freaking bright. But I'm sitting near my window today. Maybe I could even show you a little bit of it. This is my view. So I work in DC. It's pretty cool, right? So I'm just taking a little break here. And while I was taking the break, I was like, okay, I might as well make my video for the week for business in terms of how I would say how my SF sleep at least manifests itself in the business world, and then hopefully for people who have SF sleep, whether as a savior or a demon, how you guys can maybe implement that. This lighting is really annoying though, so I guess this is good enough right here. So let me go ahead and get started. I'll start with the definition of terms as usual, and then I'll just share my personal experience with it, and I guess what I'm learning to do as a sleep last. And then, just give some little bit of advice. So let me go ahead and start with the definition. So sleep, so let's start with this. SF sleep is a very complicated set of things, right? So it's a combination of things that leads to SF sleep, right? So much like, and this is an analogy, but much like a molecule is composed of many different atoms and many, this is what is, SF sleep is composed of a lot of different things. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is my checklist. This lighting is effing me up right now, not gonna lie, but I'll put this in the description, but this is admittedly kind of annoying. So let me go ahead and get started here. So, okay, here we go. So first, let me define what sleep is. So sleep is an energy animal in the objective personality system. So sleep is composed of DI and OI. So it's a combination, right? So it's two human needs working together. So DI being defined as significance and identity, OI being defined as learning or solving problems by revisiting known information, right? So those two together is sleep. And one, I guess, popular definition or simplified definition, let's say, is sleep is stopping and going over known information, right? Or learning via repetition. Next is the SF part. What is the SF? So SF is, I guess they're still called letters in the OP system. I don't know what you call them, but they're basically the way that my sleep manifests, right? So the first part is the S, which is factual proving, and then F, which is prioritizing and valuing. So many people in the OP community tend to simplify SF as popularity or, comfort, but really it's about valuing things in the physical world and proving that you value it in the physical world. So it's not just an abstract, hey, I like this. You're actually proving it through whether it's actions, right? It could be decisions, or it could just be more, hey, let's just look at your life objectively and let's prove that you value X, Y, or Z, right? So how does this manifest, just in life? And again, this lighting is effing me up. So let's start with this, right? Even this is a good example. So I'm like SF sleep last, so I'm double activated NT at the top, which is basically the opposite of SF sleep. It's NT play. So I have a very hard time doing SF sleep. I have a very hard time, valuing SF sleep even, so I don't even put enough time into it, even if I had the time. But basically, even this lighting example is a good one, right? So it's like, I'm like struggling with the lighting. I didn't prepare it in advance, right? I didn't stop and go over, okay, which lighting do I like the best before starting this video? I just started it, right? And now I'm suffering because this lighting is trash, right? Other examples though, so more positive examples, which I guess is kind of getting into what I am practicing, right? Is going back to this view, right? This view, to me, I mean, it's subjective, but I like this view. Like, this is a pretty nice view. It's pretty relaxing. It's pretty reassuring that I'm doing good things in the world, right? Like, if I have a view like this at work, that's pretty nice. And things like that, right? So things like that. I try taking breaks more so throughout the day. So I will do things. Actually, I think this lighting was pretty good right here. So things like I take walks throughout the day. I will stop and try and play my favorite music as I'm working. And look, I mean, all of these things a lot of people are going to probably relate to, right? Because some of it's universal, right? SF is SF. But when it comes to sleep, again, it's me going over familiar experiences or familiar things that I value and creating a routine basically to expose myself to that on a daily basis. So whether it's views like this, going out for nice walks, playing my favorite music while working, having one thing I do, which I don't know if a lot of people do, is I recently got into the habit, at least working from home, is I'll have two laptops. I don't have my personal laptop today, but on my one laptop is my work stuff, and then the other laptop is like a I guess they call them ambiance videos on YouTube, where it's like you can if you searched up like Batman Batcave you'll have a video with like it's like a really nice aesthetic. Like it's like a waterfall, and like it has kind of the music of the Batman in the background from the films and stuff like that. So that's one other thing I try to do. And then of course, you know, I stole the working with my blanket on. I'm not doing that today necessarily, but even if you look at my outfit, right, a little bit weird. I'm not trying to flex really, but you know, usually in the past, especially like, you know, in the past year or two when I started this job, I would always dress up with a like suit and like a suit. Like every single day, no matter how cold or hot it was, I was always wearing a suit, and people would comment like, Reggie, aren't you like uncomfortable in that? Like you could take that off, like it's fine. And I'd be like, no, like you know, I don't know, some infodom bullshit, like not feeling allowed to be comfortable or whatever. But now, you know, even this is an example of, I'm still wearing my tie because I had stuff to do, but like I'm wearing like this jacket, right? Like, and technically I don't need to wear it, but I just like it because I just like how it feels like a mini blanket to me, right? Personally. So those are like a few examples of what I do to, you know, how do I word this? Really to create an environment that I like in the physical world. That's basically what my sleep is. I'm going over known information, known routines, known items of clothing, known music, all that stuff, and I'm creating, it's almost like nesting. So that's my any analogy. It's almost like a nesting function where I'm creating an environment that I personally like. It has nothing to do with what other people like, right? So I'll give you another example before I you know, start giving, I guess, advice. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, right? So I've been playing I have a Switch at home, and so there are 2 new games that came out, I think, within the past few months. One of them is remake of the Diamond and Pearl from Pokemon. I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to play this, right? And so I've been playing it a lot. And so I've been playing, you know, at work, I've been playing background music, like Pokemon background music, right? So I don't know if this might not land with you, but one of the songs is a piano, like basically just a piano playing, right? You know, it's very beautiful, and you wouldn't really know it's from a video game unless you stopped and looked at my screen, right? But, you know, it's from Pokemon, right? So I'm not telling anyone that, but it was funny because one of my bosses came through, you know, as I was working, and I guess I left my laptop on and I went to, like, you know, get something. And he commented, he was like, hey, Reggie, like, I stopped by your office because I needed a chair or whatever. And I noticed, like, you're playing all this beautiful piano. Like, are you into piano? And I guess in his mind, he's thinking I'm, like, this really cultured, like, person. I'm like, and I'm, like, going with her. I'm like, yeah, dude, totally. I love piano. Like, and But it's like, it's from Pokemon. I'm not going to tell him that, right? And so I think that kind of illustrates how personal and how subjective the SF sleep is, right? Because it's like, no matter how much I explained it to the outside world, unless, like, it's gonna sound silly if I explained to my boss, oh yeah, I'm listening to a video game album right now, don't mind me. Like, I'm not gonna do that, right? And I think that's one thing that I think every introverted function an animal has, where it's like their personal thing may look, it may either look more, let's say, it may look either better or worse than it is on the outside world, but I guess ultimately it's always something that's hard to explain, right? So in my SF sleep is something that I don't feel comfortable explaining, like, because some people might, so another example before I go to the advice, some people might come to me and be like, Reggie, and this happens actually a lot, hey Reggie, why are you wearing this jacket, right? Like, why not wear a polo? Why not wear this? Why not wear that? And I'm like, it's like, how do I explain to you that this makes me feel the most comfortable? Like, except for, I mean, I tried just saying that now, but it's like, you know, when other people show me their options, right? Like, especially SE people, it's like, here are some other options for it to wear. It's like, in my head, I'm like, don't fucking talk to me. That's where I start getting annoyed because I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, it makes me comfortable. So who cares about your opinion about what I should wear, right? I'm trying to work on that. But anyway, so let's go to the advice, right? So for any of you, especially if you have demon sleep, or let's say demon SF sleep, let's say, I would just recommend, so one, I always recommend using the definitions and just going with the definitions, right? I'm very much a believer in trusting the math, right? So if SF sleep is defined by going over known information that has to do with your values and has to do with actual facts, then just do it, right? Don't overthink it, right? Like, so one thing that I do recommend for people, especially if they're demon feeling, is make a priority list for yourself, right? And it could be your priority list. So I guess that's my FI, right? You know, but it's, I guess, for people who are in my quadra, make your own priority list, make a list of what you like, make a list of what makes you comfortable, and then just allocate time throughout the workday for that, right? So for me, it's like, I find time to sneak Pokemon music into my workday, right? And it's like, I don't have to explain that to anyone, right? It makes me comfortable and it's what I like. So it's like, that's what I do. right? So I would recommend, that's the first thing I'd recommend. I would say the second thing too is make sure, and I guess this goes back to the definition of terms, right? Make sure that when you're making this list or when you're practicing sleep, that it's actually concrete. Because one thing that I ran into, especially early on, is that I would try and do too much abstract bullshit, right? Too much NF, basically. I'm like, yeah, like I really want to feel like a powerful conqueror and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, yes, that's a good vibe. Yes, that's a good goal. But like ultimately, just pick things that you actually like in the physical world and don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it too abstract, right? So I guess that's the second piece of advice for people who are trying to do SF sleep is don't mistake your grandiose abstractions for the SF sleep. That's probably more NF, right? And if you have NF sleep, great. Go be a conqueror, dragon, whatever. But if you're SF sleep like me, you gotta be more simple. You gotta be more concrete about what you're saying. And then I guess the last piece of advice I would say for, especially at work, is I don't know if it's advice so much as encouragement, but like I guess the encouragement would be is that you're allowed to be comfortable at work, right? I mean, that's a huge discovery for me. It's like you're allowed to do things you like while you're working, right? And I guess what that ultimately means is you can, and this I guess this goes to how sleep is defined, is you are allowed to take control of how your day goes. You're allowed to create your dream, your ideal environment, right? And I guess this is true for anyone, regardless of what temperament their sleep is. If you're demon sleep, I guess give yourself that permission to take more control of your day and make it more like what you would have in your mind if it was like the best case scenario, right? So for me, that happens to be very, it's almost like childlike for me. So it's like, okay, like I have my favorite video game music and I'm talking to the people that I like at work and I'm working on what I like to do at work and I'm wearing my favorite shoes and I'm wearing my favorite shirt and I'm wearing my favorite jacket, and that's what's working for me, right? And now everyone's sleep is unique, but I guess everyone's sleep is also the same in the sense of your dream world, you're allowed to make that a reality, let's say. I guess that's how I put it. So that's about it. I guess that's my little blaster tips or fake blaster tips. I will put a link to my checklist in the description because I know the lighting is trash. I'm not that SF yet, I'm working on it. But I will go ahead and put the links in the description. Definitely use them and use the definition of terms to help you with your journey and stuff like that. And then also, either leave a comment and I could maybe help out if I can. Or, there are some people who like to talk to me one-on-one and Snug just because they don't like putting their business out there on comments. I get that. So if you want to talk to me on Snug, for half an hour or whatever, I'm happy to do that. So I'll put that in the link in the description when I'm done as well. So other than that, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys have a great day. And I will see you in the next video that I make. Take care.